This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Tuesday, June 5th, 2018, episode 177. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. At Nicholas M. Craig is my Twitter. InfectionPodcast.com is our website. Joining me as he does each and every week, my cohort on the program, Brian with an I, Aldridge. Hey, Brian.
Hello, how are you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful weather. Sorry, I'm going off script a little bit here.
Wonderful weather.
Beautiful.
Explain to me
here.
What is a wonderful weather, if you had to explain that.
Well, hopefully you have wonderbe weather where you're at.
It's hotter than
here.
hell.
It's been beautiful.
It's hot.
Yeah,
it's
I did
humid.
turn the temperature down a little bit before the show. I was like, I'm gonna be burning up back here. So I put it at 72, and it was like 75 in the house, which is pretty warm here. So anyways, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, you can check out my blog, biteoftech.com. And on there, we also have our website. If you go to infectionpodcast.com, link to our Discord group. We have a link to our Steam group if you want to get notifications of when the live show is about to start. And we have links to our Twitch, YouTube, and audio-only formats. So if you go on there, we also have a contact form. If you want to maybe send a message to Nick and I, maybe information about something that you don't think we're doing right or something you think we should do. Perhaps your favorite podcast app or where you get your media isn't having our show on there. You can send us a message and let us know, and then we'll do our best to get it on there.
Or maybe you could be like Judd and create a change.org petition to, quote, stop Nick from playing terrible pre-show music. You could do that as well. I'll post that in the show notes. By the way, I think I've got a very good taste in music. So I don't know. I feel like I can't win. I play some older stuff, and it's like, oh, what are you, 40 years old? Sorry, Brian. What are you?
I'm not quite 40
I know,
yet,
but you're getting there. My point was like, oh, what are you, old? It's like, no. So I play some new stuff. Some 3 Days of Grace. They're a new band, right? I mean, they're modern. No, that's not good enough. Papa Roach. That song's not that old. The song's less than 10 years old. No, that's not good enough. I just can't win. It's just incredible. It's incredible.
It'll make everybody happy.
We're just not going to do the show anymore. Plain and simple, right? Just cancel the show because the pre-show music is no good. That's 4 minutes of music.
Just throw the papers up in the air and walk away.
To hell with it. It's all over with. So, yes, I do appreciate we always appreciate the comments, concerns, and the criticism. Not necessarily criticism, but I was chatting with our friend Musty over the weekend. He is reminding us that a lot of our listeners are audio podcast listeners. A lot of people listen in their car, and on the past few weeks we've been a little video heavy, so we appreciate comments like that so that we can keep ourselves mindful. This week we're looking pretty good, but next week obviously E3 will probably have a lot of stuff to show, but we do appreciate the comments, the concerns, whatever it may be. Infectionpodcast.com for all of that.
Yes.
All right, Brian, well, I guess let's talk about Black Wake.
Yes.
I didn't unfortunately have a chance to play Friday, but I did jump into it for an extended period of time on Saturday. I want to say a solid 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it was what was it, $10, $9.90 something, $9.97 or something like that. It was on sale for.
Yeah, something like that.
That was a solid $10.
Yep. Well, and I actually because it was coming up in the Humble Bundle, and my wife, she likes to play some of the games with us when she's here, and so I was like, well, here I'll activate my Humble Bundle monthly charge early, and then it'll give me another copy. I'll give that one to you, and so she was able to play with us, and she actually had a lot of fun with it. She thought that was good.
The not the learning curve, but getting into figuring out how to actually play the game took me a little while. As I think it does with most people, figuring out how to actually fire the cannons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Took maybe
there's no training. You're running around. It's like, okay. So here's gunpowder, and you're just kind of, but once you get it,
you get it.
It all makes sense.
So after about a game of bugging Saul and Green Man about is this what I'm supposed to be doing kind of thing, I figured it out, and had a lot of fun. Green Man is
I
a
remember,
great
but
captain.
I remember the first time I played, I got to the that big mortar cannon, and I shot the ship next to us, and it was one of the good guys. I didn't know the difference.
I did the
He's
same
like, some
thing.
guy's like, "You idiot! You're shooting your own ship." And he's like, "Okay," but he was nice. He's like, "Okay, you're not an idiot." But I was like, "I've never played this before. I'm just shooting the ship that's there." And
I
then I
did.
realized, oh, I have people on my team.
The first thing I shot was an enemy ship. I was like, oh god, there's of course some expletive name because it's the internet and you get to name the ships. I was like, oh my god, it's right there. After I shot it, it was like -400 killed teammate or something like that. I was like, oh well, damn.
Yep.
So
they should have made that clear when you start the game for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So that was Black Wake. We had a pretty good time with that. Well, I don't know. How did Friday go? I guess. Do you have a good turn? It looked like you had a good turnout.
Yeah, we had a good turnout, and we played for a while. And I never played the game before that, so that was my first time playing. My wife's first time playing, and I think it's definitely one that we could play again. It's one of those that it's fun. Playing by myself, it's not that kind of a game. I mean, you could, if you get into a good group, you get into a good lobby, whatever, you'll have fun. But playing with a group, that I think that makes the most of it when because you need to have voice chat going. You need to be able to communicate with the team, and you can't always guarantee that when you're going into random lobbies. But I think with your group, then you're able to have somebody who gives directions, and usually you can do pretty well as a group.
Yep. So you can go check it out this month if you're interested in the Humble Bundle Monthly. You can head on over to their website, or actually head on over to our website, infectionpodcast.com/support. Click on the Humble Bundle link, and you'll see here you've got 30 days to get it. And Black Wake is one of the games on this month's Humble Bundle. So if you've been wanting to get it, it's a little more expensive, obviously, than the $12 or the $10 version couple weeks ago, but you'll get other games on top of this. So you can head on over there, infectionpodcast.com/support. Click on the Humble Bundle link, and it helps support the program, support the broadcast, and allows us to continue to do some of the cool stuff that we're working on. So you check that out, and I see we've got a blank here for Game of the Week this week, Brian. So is there a couple options? Yeah. What are we thinking?
Well, I mean, I was thinking of, should we fall back onto one of our normal games? Because we've been playing a lot of, kind of offbeat games. We haven't played ARK for a while. And so I really wanted to bring it up, and we can maybe think of it through the show, get some suggestions from chat. But I mean, we could play PUBG. We could play some ARK.
PUBG probably wouldn't be bad. We haven't played PUBG in a while. Is that new map? Is the new map going to be out? I think they stopped the test yesterday. They extended it a little bit, and then it ended yesterday. Unless they're going to be bringing it up, we might want to verify that before. I mean, we could play whatever. We could say PUBG. Let's just do PUBG then. We haven't. I think it's been a while since we've played PUBG. So let's do some PUBG. We'll do that Friday night game of the week. If you are interested in joining us, you can hop in our Discord. The link for that on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Click the little Discord icon and go ahead and hop on into the channel. You'll see everybody will be chatting right around. Typically, everybody rolls in about 15 minutes, half an hour before that, and gets in there. I do want to quickly thank our friend Johnny Find, who subscribed throughout the week here on Twitch and made that possible. And Alex the Jedi for the bits that just came in. Thank you, Alex. We appreciate that as well. All that, of course, is making our trip to PAX West possible. Tickets were on sale. They're not. They're all sold out now. But if you are heading out to PAX West 2018, we will be out there. And if you're doing that, get in touch with us. We can grab a drink, grab something to eat, maybe. Or
if you live in the Seattle area.
Oh yes, even that. Yes, you don't have to be going to the show.
Yep, and we'll do a dinner. And that's one thing about these trips is I've already got some meal places. And we gotta.
Oh, you and Lance can duke it out over the king of the food. I remember last year it was like we were somewhat prepared for the thing, and it was just like, oh yeah, but we got to check out this food place and this place and this place and that place, and it was like, oh god, because this is our preparation is going into food, not.
Well, I know one because that's where my wife was in school, so we couldn't get away for a full honeymoon.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
When we got married, and so we just went to Seattle for the weekend. and I got to go visit.
Oh,
it's kind of for me. I got to go visit Google and do all that stuff. And so there's this one place near our hotel that was just probably the best soup I've ever had. Like an Asian spicy soup. It's so good.
That's good.
So I was like, we got to go there.
You can have a good lunch by yourself there, Brian.
You don't like Asian food?
I don't know. I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not a big soup fan.
Okay, well, you have to go.
Okay, well,
no. I just ordered the soup. It's not a restaurant for soup.
Oh, okay.
It's just had a really good soup. So
okay, gotcha.
That's the one thing at the restaurant that I really want.
I'm glad that you are familiar with the area, because when we were in Boston, obviously, I've living in the Northeast. I've been to Boston many of times, so I kind of knew the area, not knew the area, but knew of the surroundings a little bit. So you'll be our tour guide out there. So look forward to that coming up here in just a couple months, less than 3 months. We are under. Let's see, what is our official Infection Podcast countdowns say? I don't know where the graphic is. 86 days until
so we're under 3 months.
Under 3 months. So it's about 85, 84 days until wheels are off the ground and we are flying out there. So we're looking forward to that coming up here real soon. All right. Some news. Where to start?
Well, let's go ahead and jump. We'll jump into ARK. We haven't started with ARK in a while.
Yeah, that's because there've been some, not some radio silence. The game is, remember, folks, done.
Yes.
So, and thank you Firebomb for
Firebomb. Yeah, he didn't want to be behind. We'll have a bits war here.
There you go. We appreciate that.
No one can be ahead of me.
So thank you Firebomb for that. Yeah, well, they've been not radio silence, but they've been just kind of maintaining what they've been working on. So
and we'll talk a little bit about what they're doing here in just a minute. So
yes.
First, when I went to go look at ARK News, I always go check out their update list. And there was one update. This happened 5 days ago, and it was one line. It's fixed a server crash related to uploading and downloading. So it's like, okay, well, that's not great. It's not a lot of news. And so there's actually, I was going to their forum and looking at another post. And if you look at the top, there is a date. There's a countdown. There we go. We got to see.
Yes. Thank you, Judd, for the 100 bits there. Thank you. We appreciate that. What is this? What is this clock we see here, Brian?
All right. So if it says life finds a way, and what is that? 9 days, 20 hours, 42 minutes, and 43 seconds
as we speak. Yep.
So this, I think, is for them announcing their next expansion, which last time didn't come out pretty quickly. They announced it, and then, well, they were delayed. It was supposed to come out fairly quickly. I think it was supposed to come out in October last time, correct? And then it was delayed till almost December. So this is some conference. There's some conference happening in 9 days. I don't remember if it's E3
yeah, it is E3. Well,
is it the end of E3? I don't.
No, 9 days. No, because E3, the last event is Sony's, and that's next Tuesday, so that would be 7 days. GDC. Okay. Not GDC.
It's one of those. Yeah. So they're, I guess, officially probably going to announce this at that. So in 9 days, 20 hours, and whatever, we should know what the next expansion is going to be. So they're not talking very much about it, but just there is some conference. I went and looked, and there is some conference that's happening during that time. So I'm assuming that is what they're going to do, is announce it at that. So, what led me to that was that on their forums, they were talking about some structure decay changes, which, can be a big deal on the public servers where people have just ridiculous, giant mega bases that they have on these things.
Yes.
And so on here, they were saying that they were looking at actually changing that. And of course, you know how people on the servers will freak out. The second that they announce, you adjust their flying, you adjust anything, and they freak out over it.
The end of the world. You might as well just be canceling the game. You might just ARK is no longer in development.
I'm done playing, and then they'll go downvote their company.
And thank you, Firebomb, Alex, and Judd, as we've now created a bits war on the program this evening. So thank you, all of you for that. But yes, the typical overreact. Specifically, this is a real PC thing.
Bingo, boom, shakalaka.
And thank you, Locklore, for the subscription. saying, I expect you to top the exclusive Darwin Project interview, Brian, referring to PAX. So you better be on the lookout. Great. You can get your Asian soup all you want, Brian. But the real question is, are you going to have
there like the day before asking all the people setting up their booths? They're like, okay,
I need an exclusive.
Show me your product now. I need to know. I need it. I need it.
Yeah. I need to
be the first one I go to too.
My editor is going to kill me if I come back without an exclusive.
If I come back with nothing, I'm out of a job.
Like an old-timey newspaper salesman.
Hopefully, that's the thing, is we're willing to talk to anybody.
That was fact. Yeah.
We're willing to look at it and give it an honest perspective. We don't care how big your team is. We don't care. If you have, you don't have to be one of the top 10 games at the show. But if we look at it and say, man, that looks like it could be fun and looks like you're serious about it. We'll talk to the developers of it. So I think that was the difference, is nobody took them seriously and we were willing to. And it wasn't until after the hype got out there and then they started hearing, oh, people are talking about this game, that then they finally took them seriously. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll be out at PAX West, but what I'm really looking forward to, and we'll get back to the ARK news here in a second, I'm really hoping that both Epic and PUBG have large presence at the show. I'm hoping they've got two massive booths right next to each other. I think that would be the greatest thing ever to have. Epic will go big. I mean, they're not going to toy around. I mean, they're going to have a big freaking booth, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they may not even. Epic is so crazy.
We can ask for an interview, and you can ask to kind of inch towards their booth and then ask them questions about the other.
I mean, I don't want to get into that, but they may not even go out there. Epic is so nonchalant about this stuff. They've got literally the most played PC game right now. They don't have to.
I don't know. They could do a tournament. I mean, it's hard to say what they're going to do, but they are doing so well with this, and it's so much the game to be right now that I think that they probably will make an appearance when they normally wouldn't. I think this year they have the top game in the industry right now.
For sure.
For PC gaming, I think that they will probably make a big appearance because they want to keep that going. They want, people talking about it, streamers. They want people coming taking pictures at the booth and keep that going. So I'm pretty sure that they will. I'd be very surprised if they didn't.
And obviously none of the schedule, none of the panels are released yet. As those get released in the coming weeks, we'll keep an eye up on those and take a look. And just real quick, I want to note, next week's program, we will be airing an interview with Jens Erik from Conan, the Funcom team. We're going to be recording that a little bit later on this week. Due to the time zone, I believe he's 7 hours ahead of us or something, like 6 hours ahead of us. So to better fit his time schedule, we're going to do a pre-recorded interview, but just be aware that coming up next week's show, we'll have an interview with Jens Erik about the launch of Conan and some of the stuff that they're working on. So enough programming notes, Brian. We'll let back to what you're talking about here with ARK. So we've got this countdown, and this is their next DLC.
Yes.
What can we expect? Do we know?
No clue. I mean, if you look at the picture, it's pretty generic. It looks like Now, I mean, you got to look at the phrase though. Life finds a way.
Looks like there's an explosion. Maybe the end of maybe this is the asteroid that hits, right?
So yes. So I think you're right on the money, because an asteroid comes, something destroys all the land, and then you're rebuilding afterwards, right? Or not you're rebuilding, but let's say, somehow life continues on. Is this going to mean that there's a land without dinosaurs? Is this going to be like the post right after? I don't know. I think this is going to be more of their post-apocalyptic version of it. This is going to be a desolate land. It's not going to be the jungle that we've been used to. I think we're going to have a very desolate map.
Which would be odd, because most of even though the ARK maps aren't necessarily, they are decent sized maps, they're not necessarily like the largest map in any game, but because they're so densely packed and the wildlife is so brutal, the AI is so brutal, it's a process to get from, just to get a couple, miles, I don't even know how but just to get inland just a little bit is a process. Scaling mountains, especially if you're on a flyer, it's a little bit easier, but if you're on one of those cats or something like that, it's quite a process to traverse the land. So
now, okay, here's one thing I want to bring up that throws me off about this picture is, first of all, okay, there is a new Jurassic Park, I think, that's being announced.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to be soon. I wonder if there's going to be a tie-in with this. Look at the left of the picture. What do you see at the very left of the picture?
There's some type of axe or hammer, it looks like.
It looks like it's a support beam or something.
Yeah, let's see if I can highlight
it looks like it's a pipe or some sort of a solid.
Yeah, it looks like a hammer
object. So yeah, I mean, Barbie says it's an ARK door, which I don't know if I see an ARK door there.
Aliens confirmed.
But there's some sort of a structure in the picture, and so I'm wondering if this is in the future with maybe a park, kind of like Jurassic Park, if it ties into Jurassic Park.
Oh, that'd be crazy. That's some serious money.
So I'm just wondering if, because they already have their one that is a park. I mean, they have that expansion that's for VR.
Yeah, the ARK World.
That has all that stuff already made. I'm just wondering, either it could be a post Meteor, or it could be something with in the future. Or are they going to go with another actual ARK? Is this going to be another variation of an ARK?
Thank you, Judd, for another set of cheers. Appreciate that. Here's a zoom in on it. If I knew, I would have opened up in Photoshop and played around with the contrast. I think you may just be seeing this line. I don't have my pen out.
No, that looks pretty. I mean,
I think so. You're seeing this line, obviously. Is it possible that right here is just like a rock or something, or a mountain in the back? Maybe we're seeing. I wish I could throw this in, play around with the contrast. I don't
know, but that is a very direct line. Like, that's either it's a symbol.
It looks like something like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It almost looks like some sort of a support structure, like a support beam.
Yeah.
Now, usually what they do is they have part of a picture and then they zoom out and show you the whole thing.
Ah, yes. Okay, so maybe you're saying that's what this is.
That's what I'm saying, is I think it's showing you part of something that, who knows, knowing them, what they might even do is every day. I haven't looked at where this was at earlier, but who knows, every day they may move that picture out more and more to show you by the final day a bigger picture. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they like to do.
Yeah, definitely. They like to not troll, because it's not really trolling, but they love to kind of play,
draw it out.
Yeah, draw it out, which I think is fun. It makes it a little more interesting.
Like before they had the dragon egg, and then like it was really blurry, and then it got clear and clear as you got close.
That's cool. I like that.
PH is bringing out that the dinosaur that's to the left, that's not one of the current dinosaurs in the game either.
I was going to say something about that.
And what about the one on the right?
None of those actually look like they're in the game. That looks
these
like
are different variations.
Looks like the trike, but the trike doesn't have a horn like that, or ears, or whatever. Not ears, whatever the thing around the trike is. Interesting.
And even the other larger dinosaur, that's not like the ones that we currently have in there. So the head's different.
Maybe we're looking at a bunch of whole new dinosaurs. Who knows? They've been very quiet. So
now, what if these are okay? So you look at what if they are like
mutants,
weird variation.
Yes. After
if you look, I don't know that there's a dinosaur that looks like I don't know if there's a Triceratops that looks identically to that one.
So maybe this is after the asteroid or whatever hits.
And they have dinosaurs like adapting.
Mutant or whatever. Judd is saying Dino Royale, just like Auto Royale. Yes.
Yeah, they got to jump back into that.
I mean, they could have. I don't think they will now. Yeah, it'd be great. Ride your Raptor around for last Raptor wins.
So we'll see. Maybe next week we'll look at the picture again next week.
Cool.
We'll see where it's at. See if it's identical to where it is now, and then if it's not next week, then the week after that we should have an announcement for it, anyways.
Yeah. Cool.
I just thought that was interesting. I just noticed it today, and I was like, that's interesting. So very good. So yeah, hopefully we'll have more news on that next week. But anyways, with the decade changes, those are something that they said their goal is to get it to where they stop that pillar and foundation spam, where they're claiming areas, griefing players. that is a problem in this game, is where they sit there and cover the map.
Oh, look at there's a good ore here. Let me place a foundation so you can't
they
break
place
it.
things so that no one can have any. So this is the thing, is they want to get rid of that, but they don't want to punish regular consistent players. So they're gonna step back and analyze it some more. There's never going to be an answer, as we said, that makes everybody happy. But
and there's always this back and forth with how do you deal with griefing is typically what you refer to it as. And I don't know of any game that's got the best solution is just don't have building. But H1Z1 dealt with this for a very long time. You'd have these little what were those little the shacks, those little like the outhouse looking things. I don't remember what those were called. It was called the shack. You'd have those all polluting everything, blocking roads until before they put in the block to not let you create on top of blacktop or build on top of blacktop. These things would just loot the map. And near houses that had spawns, people would literally log in, take the stuff, and just log back out. It's an ongoing issue in games. So I guess.
And that's the thing is even on the PvE servers, people were placing chests, storage containers everywhere, to where you'd walk into a town and your system would lag out because it couldn't receive all the information about all the chests on the ground in the town. So
incredible.
Definitely a problem. And so I'm sure they want to keep people playing it. They don't want people leaving and getting frustrated with the game. But the thing is, with the mega tribes in this game, I was watching some YouTube videos of people discussing this. The player count on this game is dropping. I think a lot of it has to do with there's only a couple, certain number of people that can play on public servers, because these mega tribes pretty much just destroy everybody that's not in their tribe. So I think that they're kind of in a weird situation where how do you get rid of those? That's one thing. How do you do that with this game where people are so set in and they're so anti-wipe? I mean, that's one thing that they managed not to do, is wipe this game on public servers. We talked about it last expansion that we really thought they should.
Well, it wasn't even last expansion. It was when the game came out. We said they should. It wasn't even
with the official release, which was right after.
And they didn't. And their solution was to spin up new servers. But I don't. I
think they have that now. They're back to the exact same problem as before.
To be honest with you, Brian, I don't have
servers running each of those.
I don't have any sympathy for them. I mean, they had the opportunity to wipe it clean with the launch of the game, and I don't blame them for doing it. They chose the safe route, which I can respect, of course. But they had the opportunity to do it with game launch, and they didn't want to. So now that's that. I mean, now they got to deal with it.
Yep. So, all right. So PH actually just linked something here, and it says they're talking about having an ARK DLC. Now, this, I don't know how official this is. It's kind of like a fan website, but it says under the name of ARK Extinction, which I don't know
why.
There's already Extinction servers.
Yeah.
Finally, it says there'll be events all summer regarding Extinction. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, the last time with Aberration, there was a little bit of a hint, and people afterwards realized, oh, here's some places where people were talking about this. I don't know. They're pretty good about keeping it quiet.
They are.
And I already mentioned it could be an Extinction thing where after the meteor, I could sense that this, maybe there's a map that's post meteor, but that would be that kind of desolate map that I'm talking about. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it from here, because this is the final DLC. Yes, this pretty much will be the end of the ARK series.
Mm-hmm. And then there's some E3 stuff that we'll talk about involving ARK. As at the end of the show, we cover some of the E3 stuff, so we'll talk about that as well. Obviously, coming up, most of it will be between Sony's conference will happen right now. Actually, no, it's happening on Monday, so everything will by next Tuesday. All of the E3 stuff will be out, I think, for the most part. So we'll do a little recap of that at the end of the show, and then talk about and then obviously next week talk about some of that stuff. So that's ARK, and we were talking earlier about what do you want to do for Game of the Week. I guess once this is announced, this will likely be out in a somewhat recent time. I guess it won't take that long for it to come out, I wouldn't think. So maybe this would be an opportunity to do that, even though it's paid DLC, and there's a bunch of people
we'll have to see how many
season pass.
How many people get it?
Called.
I think a lot of people with Aberration, you had a number of people pick up the season pass rather than buying it individually.
Yeah.
So I think we would have a decent, but we could even just spin up a server and just get some people playing,
absolutely,
through the week. So, all right. So one thing I was going to mention, this isn't something we need to go too deep into, but the Forest, they are working on a VR version of it. So the updates that they've been doing recently, is their first pass at the VR versions. So it supports the Vive and the Oculus Rift. But one thing that would be interesting in this game is they'll have for instance, full bow aiming, where you actually pull your arm back and you aim and do all that. Throwing flares by breaking the tops off of them. So you hold it and break the top off, throw the flare, light Molotovs with your lighter. So just kind of you're enacting and moving your hands in the way that you'd be doing that actual thing, a 3D inventory, which would be pretty cool. 3D book, you actually flip through the book, and chopping down trees with touch controls, which I don't know why you wouldn't just, it says touch controls. Why wouldn't you chop them by swinging the controllers?
Well, touch controls, all of the controls have got pads and stuff on them.
Yeah. I just figured if they see the motion of you swinging like an axe, that they would swing an axe.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to go about that.
But so it says the first release will not have multiplayer, but that'll be coming soon after. So
I really thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say if you're interested in the Force and you have a headset, you can try the test. They do have some tests out there, the beta or whatever you want to call it for this out right now.
We had a long conversation on this show, I believe, and on the Crummy show episodes ago. Well, we don't do that show anymore, but you can find it still on the website about VR. And for a while, I really did think, and obviously E3 is coming up now. We'll see what the big boys have to say about it. But it kind of petered out, in my opinion, at least for right now. There hasn't been a lot of talk of VR. The last big thing was Fallout's VR mode, and we'll talk about the new Fallout, some of the new Fallout stuff here later on in the show. So maybe that is what revitalizes it. Maybe this game will have full support from the start. But other than that, I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot about VR in months.
My conflict about VR is it's an all-in-one built-in headset that's pretty much the cost of a computer. And if you go and get it, you can't upgrade it. They're not modular in any way.
Yes,
And so it's an all or nothing. And if you buy this generation, here in 6 months to a year, everybody's going to say that it's something that's out of date. It's not compatible with this or that. And I think that people are afraid to jump into it and then have some game that now they can't play when they paid $500 for the headset.
Yeah, and the HTC Vive is currently running for $499 on Amazon. It was down to almost $400, and not that long ago it was on sale. Which obviously is still a chunk of change. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I think that this is where consoles are going to come in strong. To where if you have a PS4 headset that's mainly relying on the PS4 itself, it's not trying to carry a computer around on your head. That's something. It's purely the parts that are required to show the screen and to have audio and the controllers. There's just something that's made to do that. I think that then people will be willing to do it. If you can get the price down to $200, maybe $300, like $300, they can get the price down to that for a headset just because the processing is all done on the PS4. Then I'd be more interested in doing it. And I know that they have their PS4 version, but I think they need to get the price down to where people are less nervous of, okay, I'm buying it, I'm going to be stuck with it for a while. Have it be something that's, okay, here's the headset for the next, however many couple years, a year or two. And then when the next one comes out, I'm not going to be afraid to buy that because it's going to be, $300 again.
Yeah.
But I think that extra $200, they know that there's a limited shelf life on that anyways.
Oh, and I think it's part of the issue I have specifically, and I know a lot of other people deal with the same thing with my playing on a console. I sit in front of this computer, not all day, but when I get home from work, I sit here, I typically eat dinner here and watch YouTube videos, I watch television, we do the show here, I play video games here. This is kind of where I am. And to play console games, I've got to disconnect from everything I'm doing here and slide over. It's a first world problem, but slide over to the couch and put something on the television. And it's the reason I don't play console as much as I'd like to is because it's just not super convenient. And that's kind of the same way I feel about VR. Is with my 4-monitor setup, I'd have to get another computer to play VR because I'd have to disconnect all my monitors. And that's just a pain in the ass. I'm not doing that every time I want to play. So I'd have to have another computer just to do VR games. Plus, to mention, the GPU market is in shambles right now in terms of prices. They're outrageous. I mean, you can buy my entire computer spec I built 2 years ago was a little over $1,000. I mean, the GPUs are running $800 right now, MSRP. For a GPU that's not a whole hell of a lot better than what I have in there right now. So
that's the thing is I want to buy I want to buy a new processor.
I would get a new system,
and there's no way right now that I'm willing to pay that price because I'd be getting something that's not. It's the price of my computer, practically. Price of a regular computer. Yeah, literally.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you can go get a nice laptop for $800. A decent laptop for $800. It's got, I've got this laptop over here. It's got a mobile GTX 960 or something in it, which is great. It's a great laptop for doing some gaming when I'm out of the house or whatever. So I think that's the biggest issue with VR. And as we've always said, and again, I'm having a problem differentiating if we talk about this on this show or on the Crummy show, but the biggest thing, and I know Jake and I talked about it, I don't know if you and I did, Brian, the biggest thing with VR has always been who is going to adopt it. You've seen Fallout adopt it, but other than that, I mean, let's look at the big boys right now. What are people playing? They're playing Fortnite, playing PUBG.
Fortnite, you'd get so motion sick trying to play.
No, and
VR.
Fortnite's Fortnite's not a VR game. But I'm saying, these are the games that are the trend setters per se, and it's not because they don't want to adapt to VR. It's just the game just doesn't fit VR. Case in point with ARK. ARK doesn't really fit VR. That's why they made that weird little spin-off ARK world thing. Most games don't work with VR very well, and that's the problem. So it's a little frustrating.
And then there was that Resident Evil?
Resident Evil, yes, on PS4.
That was a big VR game. I never got it, and I don't know if it ended up being. It seemed like people enjoyed the game, but that was one where a lot of people were playing it on VR, and I don't know if it was a better experience under VR.
I'm not sure.
So, I don't know. There's not that big draw of a game. That's the thing is there's not a game out there that's like, man, that game is so good on VR that I'm willing to go get a VR. Like I went and got a PS4 because I wanted to play Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2 when it came out. And The Last of Us.
And Call of Duty.
So I went out and actually got a PS4 for that. Now, if there was a game that was equal in that whole genre, but it was just that much better because it's on VR. Okay, then I say, all right, I'm going to get a headset just for that game initially. Maybe they need to find that flagship game,
and it could potentially be the next Fallout if that is designed with VR in mind. That is a game that has a large enough draw, and literally we'd know by next week. But Fallout would be the game that is a little bit slower paced most of the time. Of course, there's battles that are very fast paced, but for the most part, you just kind of do your own thing. And this one may be different. We'll get into the rumors on that in a little bit. But I think it has to be a game like Fallout or GTA, something that's slow enough, but yet has its fast-paced.
I think it's going to have to be kind of a new concept that has some sort of a unique gameplay element.
That is also true.
Because you could take Fallout, and I can't imagine Fallout being that much better of an experience. I can't imagine GTA being that much better of an experience. I think it's going to have to be something to where it's a new feel and like interactive something. It's going to have to be something unique, kind of like the Wii. Remember when the Wii's came out?
Oh, huge! I remember when
everybody
stood in line.
Everybody was playing it, and it was like people were crazy because it was something different.
Yeah, the bowling.
People were going crazy over that.
Look at I don't have a look at it. The thing tracks me. Holy crap! Yeah,
that's the thing. It's going to have to be something like that. And so I don't know what that is yet, but I'm sure, you got plenty of game devs that are trying to figure out, because they've been trying to make VR work, but there just hasn't been the game that feels comfortable enough to where you'd want to sit there and say, oh, I'm only going to play this under VR.
Yeah. And I guess we'll see that. And hey, this whole conversation could be moot come next week when E3 is passed. So we'll keep an eye on that. And again, I really do hope, and I hope that at some point VR does get to that point, because that is the interesting stuff. That's the really cool stuff.
I think it's going to go more towards, because VR, they're trying to have the total depth perception. I would rather almost have glasses that are like
AR
monitors. Yeah. Well, no, not even augmented. I think that even if it's just something that's like having really big screens, like it just gives me, it doesn't have to be crazy depth perception, but it can be the equivalent of a 100-inch screen in front of my face that I'm playing with, just so that I don't have to be in front of a TV. I can be wherever I want playing my game. And you can have kids playing different games, both sitting on the couch playing different games if they want to be, but glasses that are like a monitor. You carry, it lets you carry your in having games like the mobile Fortnite and mobile PUBG, even if it's something that eventually in the future they get to the point where it's an extension of your phone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's turning your phone into like a legitimate gaming device.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'd like to see it go in the long run.
But I think it's a good conversation, and when we'll have it, we've had it in the past, and we'll continue to have it as time goes on and as new things come out. All right, I guess let's transition into. Can I go into PUBG, or do you have something else you want to cover before that?
Nope, we're good.
So we had actually a very large PUBG update here, number 14, which is crazy to think that since the 1.0 release of PC 1.0, there's only been 14 updates. This one is pretty significant. So the big thing in this one I don't even think they say it's the big thing, so I'll just read it from them, is that they're overhauling throwables. Now, the one thing that PUBG has always done, I think, so much better than everybody else, is keeping track of user data, keeping track of what players are doing, what players are using, what they're not using, and that's evident here with this patch. So they're overhauling throwables, and they explain why. So they're saying with the frag grenades, in a recent update, we removed the frag grenade knockback effect, greatly reducing its potential impact. To restore the trusty frag's killing power, we're buffing its effective range and its damage. So that's the frag grenade. The stun grenades have never been the most popular pickups, myself included. I don't think I've ever picked one up, to be honest with you. And recent changes to the frag grenade's audio effects have made them feel a bit redundant, because the frag grenade was also causing an audio effect which was similar to the stun. To make the stun grenades more rewarding, they'll now affect stun players' vision, hearing, and this is the most important thing here, and the ability to shoot accurately, which is really cool. Most games just blind you and screw with your audio, but if you can get lucky and still shoot straight, you may be able to get a kill, but I would assume it's now going to throw your shooting all over the place. So they're bumping up the stun grenade's effective radius and introducing new animations, so it's possible to tell when your grenades have stunned opponents, which is another big issue that most of these games have. There's no indication if your grenades actually worked. So those are the first two. Now the Molotovs, they're saying these have been the least popular items in game, again, because they're keeping track of these statistics. To make them more useful, they're increasing their area of effect, introducing new properties that allow fire to spread along the walls and wooden surfaces in houses, which is really cool, and imposing new debuffs on players who catch on fire. And I'll read some of that stuff as we go down here. And the last big thing that they say before you jump into the patch notes here is that they're nerfing the M24, which is their that's the bolt action rifle, which was in the care packages. They're removing it from that, and they're adding it to the world spawn. So they're nerfing it, obviously, because it's not going to be so rare, and it will now just spawn in as everything else. They're saying that they're trying to make a viable alternative to the Car 98K. And as they say, as always, we'll keep an eye on those balance changes and consistently make adjustments and improvements. And just real quick before I read through the actual notes here, this is what I like. We're nerds, Brian. Brian and I are nerds when it comes to this game stuff. Most of you listening are probably the same as well. This is a game that understands its community because they keep track of this information. Saying that the stun grenades aren't useful, and then saying that the Molotovs are literally the least popular items in game. People just walk right past them. They don't even bother. They can use that information.
So there's so small chance that you're actually going to use it in a game changing situation.
Well, and it was the big thing with, if you remember back at one of the H1Z1 Invitationals, when Manpawns used the crossbow, the fire arrows, the commentators were amazed. They go, I've never seen anybody use these before. And H1Z1's approach was just to either take it out of the game or just leave it in there. PUBG's approach here is, why aren't people using the stun grenade? Well, because you don't really even know if you've stunned somebody. And plus, the effects aren't that great. You throw it and you go, are they stunned or are they not stunned? I don't know. So we've added
too much of a risk. You're going to get shot in the middle of throwing.
Absolutely.
It. It's not worth risk. Is not worth the reward.
Bingo. And that's the struggle. Same thing with the cocktails. And it's the same thing with most grenades. Is you are literally making. I mean, you put away your gun, you pull out something in your hand, you throw it. You're as vulnerable as you can be in a game. That's why most people don't use them. PUBG's got the same problem with their throwables. It's a little bit different, but you throw this couple seconds it takes to throw it, you could be dead easily in PUBG and Fortnite. So that's that.
Well, this is something that they really touted. I mean, if you remember originally with this game, they really touted, okay, you could break the door and then throw something into the door to stun them inside. And I think that,
people don't do that.
Yeah, but I think maybe if it was something to where okay, if I throw it in there, it's going to do a debilitating enough effect where it might be worth it. It's just right now, the time that it takes, as I said, to throw it in there, someone's probably going to shoot you anyways. It's like, I'll just run in and shoot them. If they could get that balance right to where it was worth it, like the stun was good enough and it made a big difference. It stunned everybody that was near in the room, like, because you have to hit them pretty exact on. Is part of the problem. And so there's a very small chance that you even stun them in the first place if you toss it in there. So just people don't use it. So I think that's what they want, because that's what they were wanting originally, was like, okay, throw a grenade in there and then run in.
Yes.
And people it's not worth doing it at the moment.
No. And thank you, Judd, for another 100 bits. We really do appreciate that. I think the biggest problem is you just don't think about it. And that's, they've got to it's got to be, they can't be OP, but they've got to be good enough that people are willing. It's a trade-off.
Looking for them.
But it's a trade-off. The risk is you put your gun down to throw something. If the things you're throwing are really good, well, the trade-off might be worth it. But if they're in their current state where they're just mediocre, lukewarm at best, it's not, the trade-off's not worth it in 99% of the cases. And this is the stuff that I find really interesting because, it's so, game dev is so complicated. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it, and we as the end users don't really think about. So getting back into this note here, it's quite an extensive one here. So they're showing the distances here on the frag and the stun grenade, and I'll read through it, but they'll explain it. They're explaining the difference between the direct effect and the indirect effect. So as your player's looking forward, 100 degrees of your vision is a direct effect. If it's anything outside of that 100 degrees, it's an indirect effect, and it's got a 20. And you can see the 20 meter whatever you want to call it here, range with that. So a couple things here. I'll just read through these notes real quickly. Increased frag grenade damage and effective range. Frags previously had to be within 2.6 meters of a player's model to deal lethal damage. They now deal lethal damage within 3.5. Moderate damage from 3.5 to 8.5, and low damage from 8.5 through 10.5. Stun grenades blinding effects have been improved. and then I just explained the direct effect thing. Going on with this, characters blinded by the stun grenade now cover their faces in a new animation. Spectators are now also blinded when spectating someone that is hit with a stun. That's super cool. Now, stun grenades now briefly blind and deafen the thrower if they explode behind their back when it's cooked. You'll now be unable to ADS while blinded. The cocktails have now got better range. Let's see here, skimming through. I've covered a lot of this stuff. New animation has been added for the character models who are suffering burn damage. They'll attempt to pat out the flames using their hands. Adjusted some weapons and attachment balances. Reduced vertical and horizontal recoil of the Scar L. Decreased basic damage for the M24. This is the nerf from 88 to 79, which is a pretty significant drop there. As I said earlier, the M24 is no longer available in drops. It'll spawn into the world. The tactical stock and cheek pads are now less effective at improving the recoil rate, and it now improves ADS speed. Adjusted light grip. Light grip no longer affects weapon basic recoil or recoil recovery speeds. Light grip now decreases first shot / single shot recoil by about 15%. Animation kick reduction has been changed from 20 to 30%. And to make the vector a little easier to find, we've increased the spawn rate at the expense of the spawn rate of the Yump 9. Overall SMG spawn rate remains at the same with that, and the increased world spawn rate of DMRs as well. And again, thank you, Judd, for another couple of bits there. Appreciate you supporting the program with that. Now they say, the big thing here, Brian, was their change to throwables, which I would agree. Yeah, hey, that's a pretty big thing. If the notes stopped there, it does not. All the way down here.
This is what I would consider much bigger.
I'm 3/4 of the way. I'm looking at my little scroll bar at the side of Chrome. I'm 3/4 of the way down the note, and there's a big black heading that says new anti-cheat tech, which in my opinion is the big thing here. So
much more important.
This is huge. They've added a new anti-cheat solution, and here's the kicker with this: developed in-house at PUBG Corp. Before we implement this tech on live servers, we'd like to see how it works out on the test servers for this, and we need your help. Again, we have said this multiple times, time and time again. You have got to, and when I say you've got to, I mean we've got to. We should actually probably play. If I don't know, I don't know if it's going to be available. I think it will be available this weekend.
Well, yeah, that's what we can do is we'll check right before.
And if it's available, we do need to play on the test.
And see if we can play on test server.
Yeah. Yes, because again, the key with this is you've got to be willing to play on the test. Because they put this garbage in game, then everybody's going to complain about it. So let's get on test. Let's be mindful of testing this when we see that available. They say expect to see a new pop-up when you start the client. You can see it right here. PUBG launcher, enable anti-cheat. Kind of an interesting kind of throwback to H1Z1. In-house anti-cheat. Brian, what do you think?
I think these guys are probably they're probably seeing the limitations of the existing anti-cheat. One issue that you run into with the anti-cheat is that these companies, these cheat makers, have already developed all this stuff for, let's say, BattleEye or Easy Anti-Cheat. They've made hacks that bypass certain areas of that already, or they know aren't detected. And so a lot of these times when they're making cheats for a new patch, they go through and they're like, okay, well, here's the stuff that worked before. And so, it's kind of giving them that extra head start when making cheats for this, because it's all under the same tech, the same things that let them get through it in the first place, let them get through it now. And so I think that that's the biggest issue is, can they make something that's truly secret? That's something that people don't know the internals of, because when you have a public anti-cheat, people know the internals of it. And so that's part of the problem. So I think that for this, they may do some sort of other anti-cheat as well, but if they can do something that people don't understand enough, it's harder to make an anti-cheat. It's, if you can do something that when you can see all the innards, it's easy to know what to fix, or, when you're working on something.
Yeah.
When you're doing it blind, which is what they're probably hoping to do with the anti-cheat guys, is make it to where this is difficult to tear apart. And maybe they can change it up enough over time, or have something that changes up the internals to make it really difficult for them to try to cheat with. Now, the guys behind, look at what we have. Tencent, which in China had their own anti-cheat, which is supposedly, really good. Compare, who knows? Some people say that
10 Protect, I think is what it was called. Some 10 to Protect or something.
Yeah, and so who knows if they're getting help from them? I mean, they've already developed an anti-cheat. Maybe since they're kind of partnered with them, maybe they got some help from them, and it could be something that's actually very good. It's hard to say until we get in there and see how much it actually stops people from using. It's probably not going to stop ESP, but stopping them from using aimbots and stopping them from speed hacking and all these things that we see constantly. If I go onto YouTube and I see somebody live streaming cheats on this, which they'll try to do, then we'll know that it didn't work. But the current tech right now, we saw people running around and doing whatever they want for hours before they're, an hour to 2 hours before they're detected.
Yes.
So I think that if they can beat that, that'll be the test. Is if you don't see people advertising their cheats on YouTube and just blatantly cheating online, that'll be a big difference, because it's currently with the professional anti-cheat that's still happening. So,
and I do want to quickly thank Beef for Breakfast for both the host and the cheer during the program here. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I think, Brian, maybe we've said this multiple times about PUBG Corp and Bluehole. If there's a company that's got as much money as you could need to do, the game is a whopping success. They made a fortune on the game. They've got a whole team of developers. They've got plenty of money. Cash is not an issue for them. So if there was ever going to be a company, again, we said there's ever going to be a company that gets rid of cheating, it would be somebody like PUBG and somebody like Bluehole. I do like this idea of bringing anti-cheat back in house now that the game's at a stable place. They're at PC 1.0. The game is playable for the most part. It seems like that is the time. Maybe this is the strategy, Brian. Start your game off with easy anti-cheat, or what were they using? Not easy anti-cheat.
BattleEye.
BattleEye, yeah. Start it with BattleEye easy anti-cheat until you get to a point where your game is stable enough that you can have it developed and build it in-house. And again, because they collect all this information and they see what everybody is doing, it's much easier to actually go ahead and build this stuff. When you've got all the information, you can pull up a spreadsheet and see all of the information on hundreds of thousands of players, millions of players, and see how they interact, what they do, what they don't do, how they should or shouldn't be doing things. It doesn't seem like it's that complicated to actually do it, because you've got all the you need the data.
Well, they've got the data of what normal is. I mean, that's
absolutely.
Part of the thing is if you can get a baseline, you see what's normal, and then when somebody varies from normal, you look at them. I think with H1Z1, they didn't have a clue what normal was in the first place. I mean, I think they were struggling just to have a game that ran, and people they were struggling to have the servers run and everything else. I think here, I know they've been doing a lot of work on performance lately. There's even information about
it.
Yeah, they've been trying to get to where the tick rate is higher, because that's one thing that Fortnite is doing very well. Is Fortnite's going through and getting it to where their tick rate at the server is consistent through the whole time that you play. It's not lower when you start the game and then gets to a point where it's normal by the end of the game. This is something where they need to get it to where it's, let's say, 30 hertz through the whole game. They need to get the beginning of the game to say right now it starts out really low, and they're trying to get that. So it's probably hard for them to implement certain anti-cheat things when they're still struggling to get to that baseline. But I think that that's what their focus is right now, is trying to get to where the net code is not struggling at the beginning of the game, to where maybe then they can implement a little more strict watching of the actions of the player and things like that. So
I'd agree with you. And there's some improvements, performance stuff in here, as well as some sound and UI things, some stuff with the leaderboard, and some bug fixes. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, none of it is earth shattering. You can check out the show notes on our website, infectionpodcast.com. And this is, again, PUBG update number 14, which, again, their big thing is, oh, look we fixed the grenades. When in reality, it's like, oh, and we're also building our own anti-cheat, which I would say hands down is the biggest thing in a while with this. And not just PUBG. This is a huge step to take. There's only a few services, the Punkbuster, BattleEye, and Easy Anti-Cheat, that are kind of the big boys, the top dogs in the anti-cheat, and they all suck.
Their only job, being that's the only job that those companies have, they're not doing well. I mean,
it's not that they're not doing well. It's just that the code is so accessible because anybody can implement it. It's a larger user base.
There's no one-stop answer right now.
Case in point, Brian, you know this well. You're a tech nerd. Why didn't for years people develop viruses for Mac OS X? Not because they couldn't develop viruses, because nobody was using the damn operating system. And not only until recently did you see more and more people running Mac OS get attacked. It's not because the operating system was bad or good. It was just that the install base was so low, so the people went after Windows, which had 95% of the market share. And it's the same reason that these Chinese hacker farms or computer farms are building cheats for Easy Anti-Cheat, Punkbuster, and BattleEye.
Where the money is.
It's because every freaking game that comes out is using it. I mean, we in H1Z1, when they were, I mean, you could go for $15. We never did, by the way. But for $15, we came very close to buying a cheat to talk about it on the show, but we decided against that because I didn't want to get in.
I didn't want to get a ban.
I didn't want to be like, I cheated. Like I didn't want to do that. But we could have bought a cheat for $15. I mean, it's a drop in the bucket. Who cares? If you want to cheat, it's $15. Nobody cares. So, this is good. This is a huge story that they're bringing it back in house. Let's just pray to God that they're able to figure it out. It works, and that involves you using the damn test server. So when they announce that they're going to be doing the test, stop being lazy and jump on the test server. Because if you don't, you're screwing yourself if you like this game.
What would be funny is if that button all it does is firewall China. I can't believe anyone from China.
Like, oh, click it.
Anti-cheat? Okay, no China.
Blocks a whole bunch of IP masks. Like, oh, we're good. Okay, none of those IPs. Perfect.
No.
So what?
All right. Well, and then one thing is they have this new. Now, here's the thing I was telling you about before. I see this
now. I didn't notice this.
So they have some new weapon skins.
Yes.
And this is something that they haven't really done up until this point, but they're now catering to some streamers. So this is Dr. Disrespect and Shroud, two probably the more popular streamers for PUBG. They will play some Fortnite and things like that, but I would say that they're probably some of the most watched on YouTube. And these are, I know they're trying to make it so that they're not totally selling out. What do you think of these skins, though, as far as standing out in the game? They did use just little logos,
transparent
on the guns.
Yeah, they're transparent.
So it's not like a tie-dye weapon.
Oh, something that's interesting here, Brian, as I zoom in on this picture, I'm noticing something quite interesting here. It looks like they're going to be adding an Infection Podcast one as well. I mean, this is incredible. So it's Shroud, the Doc, and Infection Podcast all being added to. I mean, it is very humbling, and we know that PlayerUnknown is a big fan of the show. This is
when he sees this later tonight.
I'm screwing around, of course. I don't have a problem with this. Here's the thing. This is where the money is. This is where the money is.
And it seems like they just made a skin and then put their logo on it. Of course, with the Doc, they did use their colors, right? But these guns aren't ridiculous.
No. I mean, a red and black AR. Ooh, God, this is insane. Nothing. I mean, really.
They're not lightning effects that are flashing and moving on the stock.
Here's the thing, though. Even if they were, I still don't think that would be that outrageous. Still, I mean, here's the thing. This is what, Brian, you and I are not big skin people when it comes to this stuff. This stuff doesn't bother me. I mean, this is so. when was the last time you looked at somebody's gun after they killed you in PUBG? Or looked at your own gun, for the matter of fact? Never. No, I mean, we don't care about this stuff. So this is a quick way for them to make some money. They clearly partnered with the streamers.
The streamers will definitely stream it for the next week because they want to show off their skins. People that play the game or that follow those streamers very closely will do what's necessary to get the skin in game so that when they stream snipe them, they can be carrying their weapon.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. And this is the thing, it's a flat price. You buy it directly. You can buy it on Twitch or Steam for $9.99. It's not crates. You support that streamer.
Yep.
$10. You go and you buy the skin, and it's guaranteed to have that skin. So
I think Fortnite should sue them over buying skins directly. That's what I would do if I were Epic Games. I'd sue them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The new trend.
Yeah. But I mean, these are
now this is a limited amount of time. The skins are only purchasable by June 30th. So June 4th, it's less than a month, which I think is smart as well. It makes those valuable, and it makes people go and get them now because they're like, okay, you only have this amount of time. You won't be able to get this exact one again. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Like, what other streamers are they going to go for next? Or are they going to go for communities? Or what are they going to go for?
I think the key thing here, and as you just said, they're not charging you $10 for the skins. This is a way for you to support both PUBG and the streamer. There's definitely some type of rev split here. It's probably 50-50 on the purchase. It may even be more. Dr. Disrespect is powerful enough. He could probably pull a 60-40 or a 70-30 with his clout. So this is not, I mean, this is a way for you to support the game, which if all of us have paid for once, unless you buy keys. I've never put another dime into PUBG. And again, if you're a big enough fan of these streamers, if you sub to them on Twitch, if you sub to Dr. Disrespect on Twitch for the last 2 years, this might just be something you do just because you love him and you watch his content. You know that he has a huge amount of his fan base that will buy this, and that's good. And it's good, too. And that's why they're doing it. And it doesn't affect the game. It doesn't screw me. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt anybody.
Yep. It
doesn't really affect the game at all. This is genius. We need more stuff like this. Instead of clickbaity, pay to win BS, this is what you do. $10, buy the skin. You like the streamer, buy the skin. Don't like the streamer, don't like the skin, don't buy it. Plain and simple. And it's only in the game for 3 weeks. So buy it. Yep. If you want it, buy it. If you don't. Perfect. It's so transparent. I want to be totally transparent here. Totally transparent, and it doesn't affect anybody.
Well, and this is the thing. I think that from here, this is something. Remember, they tested those original parachutes and stuff for Twitch. I know that initially he was saying, we don't want to have stuff that stands out in the game. I think they're going to probably move beyond that now. I think you're going to start seeing Twitch parachutes. I think because Fortnite is getting ahead of them, has gotten ahead of them, I think that those rules are going to kind of go to the wayside.
I don't know if they're necessarily going to go to the wayside, but I do think that when I interviewed Brandon last year at PAX, hopefully he'll be out at PAX West again this year so we can talk with him again. You were very concerned, Brian, because they had announced the Twitch skin right before PAX, before the game was even launched. And you were very concerned, and I think we asked him privately about it, and he said, no, that's not what we're going to go towards. And I think for the last year, with all of the hype, all of the pressure, I would give them an A+ on how they've kept the game looking. Yes, they there's maybe a couple skins here and there, Brian, but they could have gone totally to the freaking nth degree with H1Z1, with all this stupid BS in the game. They could have gone with the Fortnite, where you're a drill sergeant or you're an angel with wings. I mean, there's just this nonsense, or Overwatch, all these crazy skins. They've stayed pretty middle of the road. And but
that's what I'm saying is I think that's going to start becoming less important.
They are going to have to go super far to the left or to the right with skins for me to really care. They're going to have to go crazy.
I think they're going to slowly do it, but I think that this is the beginning of starting to see skins that are promoting certain services, certain streamers. I think that this is that step. This is that first step over the line I think that that's just the direction that it's going.
And you know, as long as it doesn't affect the game, go for it. Make as much money as you want.
Yep.
And
just don't put a pig head in there.
You never know, for the right price.
No pig head.
They'll put you in.
All right. So yeah, no, that's okay.
This is what they'll do. They'll put this will be their new skin for the game.
You have a bag of mangoes that you can throw and it explodes. It's like a Molotov mango.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So one other thing that they did, and people are talking about skins in our chat now. They did an announcement here that they're lifting the market restrictions on the Aviator crate.
Yep.
So that was released on May 16th. And it's been unmarketable, so you can't sell it. And their current plan is to lift the market restriction on that crate on the 13th. They said previous crates like the Equinox crate were unmarketable for shorter amounts of time, but what they've seen is abusive behavior of the market system, especially in the form of jacked up prices for rare items. I mean, that's just how, I don't know what they expect. That's just how it works. We believe that implementing slightly longer market restrictions time will help alleviate this issue. Now, when they say this, what I get out of that statement is you're handing your money to a market seller rather than buying the crate and my item from us. So
who does what is there money, is there another game that sells directly, Brian? You can think of?
What's the other game? Who does that now?
Oh, Fortnite. Yeah. Fortnite's doing that. Oh God. Wouldn't want to copy them.
So I think that is the issue, is they're realizing, oh, you're making all this money off of selling items.
Did I tell you last week that I bought the Fortnite pass thing? And it's not because I wanted the skins. It was a little bit because I thought some of them actually were pretty cool. I wouldn't buy a crate. But you don't buy crates in Fortnite. You just buy this damn $10 season whatever, and you just play and they give you this stuff.
Yep. That's where I think
genius.
Who knows? Maybe if they realize, okay, we'll be talking about Fortnite money numbers here a little bit later.
Next, yeah.
But I think that that's the thing here, is they look at it and they're still stuck on that old crate system. You know, that I think that
the gambling
Fortnite,
system,
once again, the gambling system. I think that Fortnite is showing people you can make money by giving your players what they want. And amazing that works. But H1Z1 was the opposite.
Yeah.
I mean, they made it 100% gambling system. Just don't give the customer what they really want. Coax them along and give them a little piece, and maybe they'll get what they want. I think the PUBG is still doing that to a point.
I don't know about you, Brian, but I never purchased any type of skins or crates or whatever on H1Z1.
No, I never.
Now, if I could have bought a skin that I liked for $2 or $3 or $4,
I could have bought an outfit.
I may have. I don't know if I would have, but I may have.
I would have bought a camo outfit for that price. But the thing is you're not guaranteed to get anything for under $100.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sit there and spend $100 and maybe you'll get the outfit that you want. I think that here they're still, you get these crates, you buy it, you unlock them. I think that is their goal, is to make it so that they get the money, not these websites selling these items. Yeah. So I think that's and I think that the only way that they're going to eventually, and they say we're still, evaluating all this. I think the only way that they're going to get around this is what they're doing with this latest one. You just buy the skin for $10. You get the crate, you own it. I think that
copy Fortnite.
I think that they have learned from Fortnite that you can make money in there. You will make more money, and people will be happier in the long run.
Yeah, they can just buy what they want.
This whole skin system.
Exactly. That's exactly why I bought the Thieves Impact. Part of it was because I've been playing the game and I've been enjoying it, and it's obviously free. And I didn't buy the last one, so I said, okay, this will be my contribution to supporting Fortnite. But in turn, I get a whole bunch of skins and stuff with it that if I wanted to buy, I could. With the V-Bucks or whatever they call them.
Very good. All right, so I think that's it for
PUBG.
PUBG. Now there is experimental. I was just going to mention they had their patch notes for that. Mainly, they're working on performance. This is for the Sandhawk map, but they've been working on the performance for that. They did do some adjustments to the gameplay as well. They've been putting in trying to get the environments just right. Showing off some of the graphics in there, but we'll have a link in the show notes if you want to go check out the notes for that, but that is something that they're still continuing to improve. So
I've got to tell you, this image that they have on the header looks like garbage.
Yeah, we can see the rock is just really poorly formed.
Look at the awful reflection in the not, it's not a boat, the jet ski. Look at the awful reflection on the jet ski of the water.
Yeah, but even look like the shadow. Look at the shadow on the right hand side. It doesn't match the shape of the rock opening. It's just, I mean, that's a really poor place to take a picture. I literally so blurred.
I literally feel like this. I mean, I'm looking at Sega bass fishing. I mean, literally, it looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean, look at how awful this looks. Terrible. PUBG doesn't have this issue. The water, it looks like garbage.
Especially after having played. I mean, if look, we went and played that game on Friday with beautiful water.
It's not even as water. It's just look at the edges on the boat. It looks so fake. I mean, I'm squinting in on the monitor looking at it. It looks fake. I don't know if this is just not a good render, but I mean this little thing
looks like it's not.
This thing right here looks like it's a Photoshop a stamp on top of the picture. That doesn't even look realistic. That looks awful.
You think they did Photoshop it?
Does that look like a stamp, Ryan? I think I own that stamp collection for Photoshop, the water stamp.
I bet you that is, because I don't think the water does that anyways.
No.
So yeah, it looks like they stamped it. It's just that if they took the time to Photoshop that, that's kind of a poor one.
Like, I mean, I'd rather be playing this. One of my all-time favorite games.
PH says Epic can't do water. I disagree. I've seen some really good water inside of Epic. And isn't that game we played last week? Isn't that
I can't tell.
Isn't that Unreal? Blackwake I thought was made under Unreal.
That I don't know. So for once, not very often does PUBG, and I'm not particularly one that cares a whole hell of a lot about graphics, but this looks like absolute trash. So hopefully this is just a crude rendering.
It says it's a Unity game, so yeah, so they did a really good job with the water in Blackwake.
Yeah, so hopefully they figure that out, because I mean, this looks just as comparable.
Yeah.
And I'm not even realistically, I'm not even joking. It really doesn't look that far off from this. Yeah. It's not much better.
So one thing that I'll suggest, if anybody is into development, there is actually a GitHub project for Unreal that's oceans. It's water. It's a water project. It's open source, so you can use it. You can use it for your project, but it's really good buoyant water. So
yeah,
it is out there.
GitHub, everybody's favorite $7.9 billion website.
Oh yeah. So here's other news. Talking about not really gaming related.
Yeah, go ahead.
Microsoft bought GitHub.
Now, my initial reaction, as everybody else's, is here we go. Microsoft's going to ruin it, as they did with Skype. But I was reminded by my good friend Sean that they also own LinkedIn, and they haven't destroyed LinkedIn. I don't use LinkedIn either, but because I have a job. But LinkedIn is still its own independent company. I will agree with you. They have absolutely ruined Skype, but LinkedIn is fine. They've kept LinkedIn separate, and they've said they're going to keep GitHub separate. It's time to buy.
That's the thing, is they need to use that to maybe integrate it with their products and make it so it's really easy to have versioning and everything. But they need to keep it the same way.
Yeah. So there you go.
Very good. All right. So
that's our giveaway.
Yeah, let's do the giveaway really quick. So I'm going to be giving away actually, let me put it in here first, because then people will start typing it and it won't be ready. So this will be a 60-point raffle. So if you've been listening for the last hour, you should be good to go on this. So 60 points, type !point giveaway in chat. And I'm going to be giving away a copy of Dead Rising 4.
Oh.
Dead Rising 4, and we will we'll roll for this before the show ends. So just type !point giveaway in chat, and you should be able to enter for that.
Oh, there's Saul's first message of the night. Entering for the giveaway. All right, so we've been foreshadowing Fortnite for a little while here. They've got some stuff, but before we do that, you mentioned a dollar amount, a figure, Brian.
Yes.
What is that?
So this past April, Fortnite alone has made $296 million. That was just in April.
And we talked about that last week. It was the article said that they made almost $300 million, but I don't believe it said the specific dollar amount. So
it was $296 million in April. So
free-to-play game.
Obviously, they're doing something right. It's a free-to-play game. They're not doing the gamble system.
Yep.
And they're still making money. So I think this is just like people all of a sudden they got on the alpha train and then they got on the crate train and they're like, here's the ways that we can make quick money. I think those actually hurt the market, hurt the gaming industry.
I would agree.
But I think Epic realizing that it's bad for them, for the market to be bad. I think that they're just showing people how they should do it. And just like they did with performance, just like they've done with how the movement even of the character works. I think a lot of their game is just saying, well, here's how we think it should be done. And so they're doing it. And I think that here, they're rather than going with what everyone else did, they're saying, here's how we think crates should be done. And you know what? It's proving right because they're making so much money doing it.
Clearly. Now, one of the big differences, obviously, we talked last week, is spent a large part of the show talking about, not a large part, but the decent chunk of the show talking about the PUBG suing Epic Games over some similarities in the Fortnite versus PUBG. If you look at one of the major differences, it is vehicles. Fortnite does not have any vehicles. PUBG has got plenty. That all changed this week when Fortnite added their first vehicle, except it's not really a vehicle. And for all you audio listeners, yes, that sounded like the rattling of a shopping cart because it is literally a shopping cart. It's a vehicle they've added. One person sits in the basket, the other person pushes it, and
you're supposed to make a ramp. And
it's
a lot of work to do that.
This is perfectly in line for the play style of Fortnite. It adds up into the game perfectly. It's exactly what I've come to expect from the play style, the look of the game, and everything like that. So the first vehicle is in the game, and that is the shopping cart, which people have been using to break the game, break in. They've been running into objects and then getting able to pass through the objects. I saw some very extensive videos of people breaking into that bunker with the shopping cart. So these people are now. JD's asking real question: can you shoot? I believe you can shoot if you're sitting in the cart. I do not believe the pusher can shoot. The person
in the seat, the person on the back is holding on to it.
Yes, the person on the back is like holding on and kicking, kind of like a scooter. Except they go, you go quite quick with it, from what I've seen. So,
nice.
So that's their little video of the week, bringing you a new thing there.
They did hear, the 4.3 update.
Yes, so there's some new stuff in it as well. We've got a thing here, what they're calling the bouncer trap. And it looks, I don't really know what it looks like.
They say on here, you can boost your cars with it or carts with it.
Yep.
Launch off walls or leap. You can actually use it as a trap for
send people flying,
your friends, or for people, that you're trying to trap them and hurt them. So pretty interesting. They always put their save the world notes in here as well, which I think I already gave my guess that that's going to become more relevant now. Do you have an opinion?
I've never played it. All I've seen is little snippets of it. It would make perfect sense if they started doing a lot more work on it now.
I think, don't you think, just like it's happened with PUBG, people are eventually going to get burnt out?
Oh yeah,
on Fortnite. And what's going to happen when they get burnt out?
They'll be looking for something else to play, and if nothing else exists, they'll just not play anything.
That's the thing is with this, if they can come up with a totally different game mode that feels very different than a battle royale that you can play with your friends, just like ARK. I mean, they got people to play for years because they had something that you could do with friends that was more of a cooperative type of a thing. I think that eventually people get burnt out on battle royale.
Yep.
I think that it would be smart of them to fall back onto that, here's something else you can play. So, and plus people will be very comfortable with the movement. They'll be very comfortable with the weapons. Like, it'd be very easy transition into that.
I don't see why they won't do that. So I would expect something like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the thing is I think that'll be, because this can only last for so long. We said the same thing with PUBG and people are like, what? You know, PUBG is going to last forever. You know, it's never going to, we said that there's going to be a point when it starts to die off, and when it starts to not that it's dying, but when you start to lose players and players are going on to different games. People can only play the same game when it doesn't have changing content for so long.
Well, and it's not that people I think are necessarily getting bored. It's just that the repetition of
this is a game that's almost always the same.
Fall into one of 5 or 6 drop points, build some houses, shoot, build some houses, shoot. Gets boring.
But even look with PUBG and the new maps. Like PUBG put new maps in. Is it really that much different of a game?
One of the maps sucks, so no.
But that's the thing is the game doesn't feel that drastically different from the first one.
And
so
yeah, I know. I don't think it's different enough for now. I think this new map is different.
I think
enough.
I think that you go in there and you maybe will explore. That'll last for a certain period of time. But I don't think they can add enough maps to escape that from happening.
No, and you see what Fortnite does is they add limited time things. They added they added a jetpack, for Christ's sakes. I mean,
yep. They changed it up so that the map isn't what's important. And thank you, Battery Included, for the bits.
Yes, thank you very much, Battery. We do appreciate that. Firebomb saying,
I think that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I think it's smarter that with the making it so where you're not having to come up with a new map, like they did that special event, you know, where the meteor hit. They put totally different game modes in there. I think that that's also PUBG's goal is with coming up with all these game modes, is to make it so that they can get those in there, and if it's not the same battle royale over and over and over again.
Yeah. Firebomb's just making a quick comment chat saying, and he's saying Fortnite is more for kids. PUBG is more for adults. My son loves Fortnite. I can't stand it. Can't be bothered with the fast-paced building and shooting. I don't want to get into that. We've had this discussion before, and we do have a lot of other stuff to get into. But that is a sentiment of a lot of people. Is, you know, the 14-year-olds are playing Fortnite, which they are. I mean, I
like to relax nowadays when I'm playing a game, and I can't relax with Fortnite.
See, I'm actually quite the opposite.
Even in PUBG, I can relax.
I'm completely opposite. I can't relax in PUBG. In Fortnite, it's super casual. But that's just totally based on perspective. That's what I like. Both of them are good games. It depends what playstyle you want. Again, and they're only shooting each other up. I mean, in popularity and in innovation, and they're direct competition with each other. And at the end of the day, you and I and everybody listening to the program right now are the ones benefiting of it.
Yep.
So
I was going to mention a game. There was a game that.
Oh, and real quick before we get to that with Fortnite, it's allegedly coming to the Switch.
Okay.
There was a leaked.
Well, I mean, the Switch supports Unreal games, so I don't know why it wouldn't.
There was a leak of Nintendo's press sheet of the things that they were going to cover, and the Fortnite logo was on there, which is an indication, of course, that that's coming, and it's a perfect fit for the Switch. A little bit bigger than a phone. I bet you it's actually a really good experience. I wish I had a Switch, so that because I bet you that's a really cool experience. A little bit larger than a phone, not a 42 or 55-inch television. I'll have to, hopefully when that comes out, maybe we can talk to our friend Jake the Snake and get his 2 cents on that. So that's Fortnite. Sorry for all you Fortnite haters don't like to hear about it. Doesn't matter. You're going to continue to hear about it because it is the most popular PC game being played right now, hands down, without a doubt.
I mean, look at Green Man. He made a cartoon for it, and the thing just
blew. It's got
tons of views.
I believe at this point it's got about 7.5, 8 million views.
Yep. So I mean, you can't really argue with that.
Let's see. All right. 7.2 million views. Yes.
Yep. So yeah. So I mean, so there's definitely people playing it, and you could make an H1Z1, and it would get maybe 1,000 views.
Yeah.
Maybe 2,000 views.
And that'd be me refreshing. Go
ahead. So one thing I was going to mention, speaking of H1Z1, is Just Survive put out a patch this past week.
Interesting.
So they put out a patch, and it's not super long, so I guess we can read the patch notes.
Yeah.
They reduced the materials needed to create explosives and eliminate composites from the required materials. They reduced the materials needed to build base components. They removed the automatic server construction caps based on server memory use. Well, because there's not enough people building them on there anyways, not worried about running out. Added slight movement penalty after crouching and quickly ramping back to full speed. Added several more anti-cheat categories / trackers. Fixed securable area issues associated with low speed projectiles like arrows and bolts that were killing people just after they closed a door. Improved default shadow settings for better performance, fixed an issue where it could result in loss of items from storage containers, fixed several memory leaks on the server, eliminated the ability to purchase crates. All crates will be free and will be created via simple recipe. Collecting the appropriate in-game components and performing the recipe will result in a random set of 3 unlocked crates. We know about the issue with the marketplace window. Everything reads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the price. And then this one had a wipe. So they're getting rid of the crate system. And yeah. And so they've realized it too. There's no money in it. Now, what are they going to do? I mean, how are they going to pay for this game?
They'll pay for it with King of the Kill. That's how that goes.
Yeah, it's not a long run.
Well, it's not necessarily a long run, but there's a whole bunch of businesses that, one thing subsidizes the other. You make a lot of money on one thing, it pays for the other. That's not uncommon.
So
like Walmart's a great example. They lose money on a whole bunch of stuff they sell, but they sell enough of it in bulk. You make money. They don't lose money. They don't make high margins.
You can't purchase crates. What if? Do you have to purchase the keys?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so performing the recipe will result in a random set of 3 unlocked crates. So how are they going to? That's the thing. It seems like there's nothing making money for this game now. Like, how are they going to pay for it? They're not going to let this game run with no method of bringing any income in. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, it wasn't a free to play game. This one's still not free to play. I mean, are they just going to? It's a paid for game,
is it
right?
Not free?
This one's
maybe I don't remember.
Not Just Survive.
I guess no, you're right. That is still $20, I think.
So maybe they're treating it like not a free to play game now, which makes sense. I mean, we're so caught up in the whole free to play. Oh, we have to pay for all this stuff. How are we going to get skins without paying for them? This was a paid for game.
The problem with it being paid for now is it doesn't matter because everybody already owns it. I mean, they're not I can't imagine they're selling.
That's the thing is I just don't get how they're going to make money.
Yeah, well, I guess they're probably not going to make a whole bunch with Just Survive. They'll have to make it with King of the Kill.
So, like one thing someone said they did. So the recipe for 3 unlock crates is 1 aqua gator, 1 purple gator, and 1 pink gator. Like you get those items and then those are the shoes, and then you're able to unlock a crate. So that's how they're doing the recipes. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know that I want to log in and test it.
No, and I don't think we will. And I'm ready for them to do something major, even though the last thing we heard from them was we're just going to continue to keep it alive, keep it on life support, but we're not going to give it any medicine or anything to make it better. We're just going to let it sit here. That was literally their last big update. So,
yeah, so we'll see. We'll see in the next month, 2 months.
There's got
to be something.
I was talking to one of my friends today, and we were searching for something that was said on the Infection podcast, and he pulled up episode 1, and he was kind of laughing at he's like, "Oh, you look like a baby," and Brian's wearing a Nintendo shirt, looks like a loser. Yeah, our friend Sean was making these comments.
Oh,
Brian.
Sean. Yeah.
And I said to him, it's a real shame because I've rewatched that episode. We've played bits of pieces of it every once in a while for anniversaries and stuff. I've rewatched that episode somewhat recently, within the last probably 6 months. And it really does. You watch that first episode and you and I are so excited about this game and about its potential in this and how much fun we're having. And even though the game is broken, we're still loving it. And we've met all these cool people. Thank you, TechZone707, for the subscription.
AKA Sean.
You know, how great this is. And it makes me, it sounds stupid, but it's sad to now look at its current state. When you watch, I recommend anybody that's got some free time, scrub through episode 1 of Infection and see how excited we are and people watching it, how excited everybody was about H1Z1 at the time. Even the first 5 episodes are like that. First 10 episodes are like that. So excited. And now you look at it and it's just like, well, we're going to keep this thing.
The game is a joke. Yeah.
We're going to keep, we're going to keep it alive. Yeah. It's absolutely dead. And they've admitted it's dead, but for some reason they don't feel like they're not going to let it die.
They're just maintaining it. There's going to be a point where they're just like, it's not worth it. We're offloading it or something.
Which is sad. It makes me sad. It really does. Because obviously I want the game to be a success. But speaking of old things with H1Z1, looking ahead to Z1, there's a post here talking about how great of a past 6 months they've had. That's debatable. No, I was going to make a comment. So they're talking about Z1, of course, is the big thing. This was the biggest how did Clegg phrase it on Twitter? The biggest announcement ever, or something like that, in regards to
it was the biggest thing to happen, like in
biggest
H1Z1.
thing to happen to H1Z1 was re-announcing the old map. So we've seen some screenshots of it, and what they said that they've been working with longtime players and community members to make sure that they recapture what made original Z1 so great. I want to put a little pin in that and say Z1 itself, the map wasn't so great. What made Z1 so great was the players and the people we played with. That's what made Z1 so great. H1Z1, and if they don't admit this, they're blind, was never a rock star game. It wasn't always a terrible game, but the community was awesome. The people we played with, Nisco, I was there. Players like Nisco, and there's the million other people that we played with day in and day out. That's what made Z1 really great. The map itself was awful. And Nisco 3000 literally made the game great, single-handedly. Now he doesn't play, the game sucks. But that's what made it great. It was the community aspect. It was going on TeamSpeak and getting rated at 4 o'clock, waking up at the crack of dawn on weekends to play all weekend, and then get up Monday morning and look at a forum post on our website that our base had been rated and everything is gone. That's what made Z1 fun.
And you got to know everybody else on the map. You got to know who the other players were on the map. And
feud with them.
Who you had to watch out for. Yeah.
Accuse them of hacking. They accuse you of hacking. It was a lot of fun. And they say from where the camp south of Cranberry sits to the rooftop coverage in Pleasant Valley, we've been making adjustments to ensure that the map feels right and provides enough terrain variety to create some intense fights. We plan to release the map during the off season between season 1 and season 2, so that you have time to play it,
which is right now.
Feedback, which is, as you said, right now. They also mentioned that this is kind of an odd thing. I'm just going to read this whole paragraph right here. Z1 isn't the only thing coming back either. We've heard the community and desire to recapture some of the best gameplay components from the previous seasons that made H1Z1 unique. They go through with this. We're working on a faster, more responsive movement action system. They say the 2 key components of movement and animations that we are looking to recapture the feeling of are jumping and sprinting. You've also shared that you enjoyed some of the old sounds. They say in quotes, we did too. So we're looking to bring back the classic headshot and helmet break sound. So I guess that's going to be making
so they're rolling back, pretty much they're rolling back
most of the
whole but the thing that was stopping the ENAS.
Yes, and like 12 preseasons worth of tweaking movements and animations.
Yeah, because the issue is you could have it where people were sitting there and weaving back and forth, and jumping up and down, and doing the bounce, the crouch spamming.
Yeah,
like they're bringing all that back.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Doesn't make me want to play it anymore.
No,
I understand for people that are really into it, like they enjoyed using that just to drive people crazy, but you know what? I was the one. I never liked to do that, and so I was the one being driven crazy. So that's not going to make me want to play it again.
So if you're watching this live on Tuesday the 5th, tomorrow, Wednesday, if you're listening to this after the fact, today, is when Season 1 is ending, and there's going to be a postseason. So Season 2 kicks off in July, so this new map will have to be out within the next 3 weeks. So we can say soon TM, but it's got to be out, like, now, pretty much.
Are they just getting rid of the old map? I mean...
I don't know what they're doing, but this new map has got to be...
See what happens.
It's got to be... this map needs to be out by next Monday. Because, I mean, we'll be in July before you know it. They also mentioned that they've had some great feedback on Auto Royale, which I had fun with. I thought Auto Royale was a lot of fun. So they're starting Friday. It'll be part of the rotating modes or actually starting last Friday rather, June 1st. It's part of the rotating modes available in arcade mode. So you can jump in there and play that. And they just want to say thank you to the community. And I guess we'll say thank you to them. Hopefully Z1 is everything everybody hopes. I don't think it will be, but I could be wrong. We could both be wrong. Who knows? So that's H1Z1.
All right, so let's before we run out of time.
Yeah.
Before we run out of time, let's talk a little bit about Stalker 2. And we actually had a request from Ugly Boy on YouTube.
Yes. So thank you for
we covered this.
Thank you for the YouTube comments. We don't always necessarily respond to them because I don't get the notifications on my phone. YouTube doesn't do that for some reason. But if there is something you want to hear about and have a question about, throw it in the YouTube comments. We don't mind talking about it.
Yes. So they kind of in a way announced it just recently, and it wasn't there was kind of some confusion initially because according to different sources he wasn't supposed to announce it yet. And so Stalker 2 originally they were trying to release, and it was canceled in 2011.
Yeah.
Right? I think it was 2011 was when it was supposed to be. Yeah, so this was, I think, in December of 2011, it was originally coming out, and then they had to cancel it. Now, Sergey, I think, is the guy who is kind of the head of this. He announced that they were going to be having this new one. They were starting it again, but the thing is, they don't have a publisher. So, and I think the goal with this, there was talks of having maybe, whatever companies come and be the publisher for this in the past years. Bethesda had talked about it at some point. I think what they really want is to see the hype level. They're going into E3, right? I think he was wanting to prove that there's hype for this. See how much news coverage was on this. How many people talked about it? How much hype there was for Stalker 2. So going into E3 that they can actually shop for a publisher. So they can go into discussions during E3 and leave E3 with a publisher for this game. They have given a year. It's going to be released in 2021. So this is still
ballsy,
a ways out. Yeah. But the thing is he pretty much said, we're going to do this. They don't have a publisher for yet, but I think that is the goal coming out on this, is that they come out of next, so it'll be pretty much next week. They come out with a publisher on this.
That's quite a set of cojones to do something like that.
So, but the thing is there is a fan base behind this game. I think there are a lot of people that are disappointed when it was originally canceled. And this is not Sergey Titov, so don't worry. It's not WWO Wild West Online 2. This is another Russian, but a totally different person. They made the original one, Shadow of Chernobyl, call it Pripyat, I think is the pronunciation. So there's Stalker 2. So there's stalker2.com on there. There's just an email address and the word Stalker 2. But I'm sure more information will be released, and I'm sure that there's going to be more information after E3. I'm assuming that they will be able to get a publisher, but I think they want to get as big a publisher as possible. So he's doing this kind of as a marketing stunt.
I like it. So. Now,
all right.
Miscreated was a little active on Twitter this week. It's not often that we get to see,
especially beforehand.
Well, that's kind of, I don't know how to phrase it, but yeah, see things beforehand with Miscreated. Typically, it's nothing, and here's a whole bunch of stuff. I'll let you explain some of these, Brian, but I saw these and I posted them in the news channel and thought this is right up Mr. Brian Aldridge's alley. So
all right, so go ahead and pull one of them up, and then because I don't know which one. Okay,
let's go through.
These are going to be, this is the new cabins that they're adding. So it'll be cabins that are on the map. And I love it when they go and put things just kind of spread out around.
You like this chair here? Look at that, laying on the ground.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is it looks like it's actually been used. I mean, the room looks like it's been rummaged through things. If you look, okay, the things that catch my eye, you know how I am about this.
Jesus.
Look at to the left of the door on the left. There's like something, it looks like someone had placed something in front of that door, that bookshelf, to block it. And then someone had shoved the door open and pushed it to the side. Those are the things that I noticed. It shows that they actually took time to think, in this room, what has happened up to this point? How did we get here? And they actually put things in the room in that manner. So there was something there blocking the door. It got shoved open, and the story actually happened in that room. Nisco brings up there are lights on, which is kind of weird. I don't know if they're doing that just for the effects of, or maybe they're, power. There might be power in the building. Maybe there's a generator that runs at that location. You never know. But yeah, so this, I like how they do it. This is a design where they actually looked at it. The bed looks like it's been laid in. There's a mattress on the floor that I'm sure that, you get in there and maybe you'll be able to kind of unfold the story of why that mattress is laying on the floor.
Ooh.
Those are the things that I noticed. And that's one thing I really enjoy about Miscreated, is they've always done that.
Oh,
okay. So this one is an underground bunker. On here,
little 7 days.
You actually, it's very much a reminiscent of 7 days, but this was your personal underground bunker. So be on the lookout for personal underground bunker. So I don't know if this means that this can kind of be a base. I'm not quite sure. So on here, once again, this is, if you look at the items that are in there, there's age to them. The shape, it tells you that this is probably made in the 80s, right? Because there was the whole Cold War scare. If you look at the odd shape of the furniture, that's kind of an 80s design. Maybe late 70s. I don't know. They're kind of going for that look.
Yeah.
But I think that this, you'd probably the same thing. You'd kind of see that there's history here. There's kind of, the wall's kind of wet, like it's dripping on the right hand side. Like I think that's pretty cool. It looks really good. It'll be interesting to see what all you can do with it. It'd be interesting if it was instanced.
Yeah, that would be pretty
cool. It actually was, because they can't seem to get around the base situation. Have it be instanced and it's your base. I mean, I don't know. Seems like you could do that. And all you have to do is place a hatch on the ground.
And PH is saying, only if 7 days looked like this. I mean, this would be, if the 7 days was like, hey, we haven't done any updates in a year. Here's a bunker. And it looked like this. You'd be like, wow, that's great. You haven't done anything in 15 months. This is incredible. But
well, we'll get to that here in a minute.
But so that's
all right. So let's go and look at the next one.
Yes.
And then there's a shipping cargo ship that's abandoned and off the shore. So
it's tilted to the side a little
somehow
bit.
be able to get on there.
It's kind
yep,
of
loot it.
Yeah,
looks good.
I like it.
A very, very nice looking set of improvements.
Better water than PUBG.
Now, okay, so since you brought it up, there's a video.
That's all the Miscreated stuff, right?
Yeah, that's all of it from Miscreated.
Okay, you have to give me a minute.
We still have one more to talk about, another game after this one, so we need to hurry.
Let me reconvene here. Hold on.
All right, so this is something that we've been talking about, and there's kind of an answer, but it's not a set in stone answer. So I don't know if you can play this video from that point.
I can. All right, so this is a 7 days to die video.
We're moving into bug fixing land. If I were to make a guess, I would probably say you can expect experimental sometime in July.
Wait, what? Where's the book? Where are the predictions, Brian? I don't remember. I don't even remember what I predicted.
You predicted. Okay, you're gonna love this.
Oh Jesus!
You predicted September.
No, did you predict July?
I predicted July. PH predicted 2019.
Okay, but that was a very wishy-washy July. I think I could still be in for September. What was our bet? $5? Did we have?
But he said it's not set in stone. So he's putting it out there that it might be delayed.
I know, but the problem is even if it's delayed from July, it'll be in August. September's a stretch.
Yeah, so you'd have to be over a month late for you.
2 months late at that point.
I'm only right if it's on time and he meets his.
But now if it's anytime after July, I win.
I don't know about that because then
you went over.
PH wins too.
No, PH doesn't win. I win.
Oh, are we doing the prices right?
I mean, I'm just gonna make up the rules as they fit my narrative.
I figure whoever's closest days wise is what I was thinking.
Oh, I don't know about that. What was the deal of this bet? I don't remember what we determined.
I think with the Price is Right, it's whoever's closest without going over. So if
you went over
the day,
no, you would be over. If it comes out after July, you are technically over.
$20 and I guess $10, I'm still not over.
Yeah, but you can't say. But you're technically over if it's past July.
Depends how you look at the date over.
Well, I look at the date over as
beyond the date.
Yes, but that date is still coming. Brian, we've learned one thing from this show: you can't measure months in time or some whatever cockamamie bullshit I said a couple so that people meme.
I can't remember that.
I don't remember what it was.
You can't measure months in time or whatever.
Something like that. I was trying to make a point. That's the one thing we've learned from this podcast is you can't measure time and time, months and timer. I don't remember how I
so Donnie's saying the person who bets $1 always wins, and mine is the $1. Yours would be the $20.
Jesus, whatever.
So anyway, we got another game to talk about. We got short minutes.
That's fine. We'll skip past current players. All right, so that's 7 days. It's exciting. We'll see who's right. If not, we're fighting it out of packs. PH is right.
All right. So let's go. We've got a teaser video here, so if you can play that, and then we will talk.
Yes, give me a minute to cue this up here. This is the long-awaited Fallout 76. They did their typical thing where they streamed a please stand by screen to Twitch for like 12 hours, then turn it off, and then the next day they publish this on Twitter.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is all there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country roads, take me.
But when the fighting is stopped and the fallout is settled, you must rebuild.
I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads, take me home, country roads.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
And as there you go, highly awaited Fallout trailer for Fallout 76. Obviously, right in the heels of E3, which will be here next week. Where I'm sure we will see more details. Now they
should be announcing, June 10th here is when they should be announcing.
So we'll be expecting that. Now there is some controversy. I don't know if his name is in the article. Let me see if I can find his name. Jason, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Shearer, I think is his last name. He works over Kotaku, and he always has got leads on stories. Always. Yeah. He's a great follow on Twitter. His link will be in the show notes, infectionpodcast.com. Oh, he's got inside sources everywhere, and he put out right after this trailer came out that his sources say Fallout 76 is an online survival RPG, which you talk about the internet having a hissy fit. That's, I mean, the Fallout subreddit was talking about going to this guy's house and killing him. I mean, they were so pissed off with this source. He had to, publicly make a statement about, hey, this is what my source said, like, why am I being attacked? I didn't develop the damn game, kind of thing. They were pissed. And the Fallout community is a very not a niche community, but their Fallout players literally play Fallout. They're still playing Fallout 3 in New Vegas, and they're still playing them. And they're super hardcore.
Now that's the thing is people are talking about, is it possibly being a Rust type of a game. Then I've heard it's going to be a cooperative, like, smaller teams game. I think I get from the video. Now, first of all, you have to look at the timeline of when this is in the whole Fallout story. And this is before any of the other Fallout series. So you got to think of the world that this is dealing with would be a much more harsher world. This is very soon after the nuclear fallout that this happens. So it'll be interesting to see how this, what kind of a different world, because we've gone into Fallout and you know what to expect.
Yeah.
This is not so long after the event. And this is like one of the first, I guess, vaults to be opened for this. So and I don't know. I'm open to, I like Fallout. I like the world.
Yeah.
I like the story. So I'm open to either one. I didn't like the little tablet game that much. I played it for a while.
I really enjoyed.
Well, I played it for a long time all at once, but it's like once you go out, it's like the same thing over and over again. But I think with this, they could do a lot. Would you rather have a Rust game, or would you rather have a multiplayer
co-op? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I'm kind of open for everything. I'm just reading now from Jason's article. But Fallout 76 is in fact an online survival RPG that's heavily inspired by games like DayZ and Rust, according to 3 people familiar with the project. I'm open for just about anything. I didn't really play a whole lot of the last Fallout. I played a lot of Fallout 3 on the Xbox and really enjoyed it. Didn't play a whole lot of New Vegas. Really enjoyed Fallout 3. I think that they just want to do something different. Fallout 4 was obviously very hyped, but I don't think it had the replay. I don't think it had the... Fallout 3 was, in my opinion, a game... It didn't change gaming, but it's one of those games that you put up there on the all-time important games.
It's one of those few games that I played all the way through when it's a really big game.
I don't even know how to describe it, because I didn't play it all the way through, but it's just one of the games that not transcends, because it didn't really do that, but a game that people all across the board say this was one of the all-time greats. Fallout 3 is on that list. I mean, even people that don't like Fallout games will admit that Fallout 3 was an incredible game. Fallout 4 was not that. The super hardcore Fallout people really liked it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't play enough of it because it just didn't grab me. Bethesda may just be wanting to do something a little bit different. They've seen the success of course you could say Rust isn't successful, but they've seen the success of online games like Rust. They've got a very active community. Maybe they're going to try that. There's a lot of thing with co-op. It's going to be just like Rust. We don't really know. We'll know.
Showed a picture of the thing they're putting on a building, in preparation for E3, and he says, well, that hints that he thinks that means it's co-op.
It may be.
I don't necessarily think that. I think that they're just showing that it's multiplayer. Yeah, there'll be more than one in there. I don't necessarily think that means that there's going to be 3-player co-op.
Firebomb says Fallout 3 was the first game I could go all over the map and just enjoy my time. Immersion in that game was king, and that's exactly what it was. I
really like the going to the Capitol and all that at the end, like that.
A lot of cool stuff.
What was a very good, like you just felt like you were
in the game,
in that moment.
Absolutely, and Fallout's supposed to do that. So it'll be interesting to see. We're in a new era now. Multiplayer is a lot more. Online survival RPGs. Survival is way different than it was when
I think
they
with the
released
base
Fallout
building
3.
stuff that they did in this last one,
Is
I
a
think that
perfect
that was
step.
in preparation for this.
Absolutely. The base building was, I wouldn't say phenomenal, but pretty damn good in Fallout 4. You could do it. You could, put little cans on your shelves and
You could make a computer with their all the stuff that they made. I mean, they had some pretty impressive stuff. So I think that gives them the ability to do something impressive.
so
here.
we will know. We will have this information by next week's show. So we'll bring it to you. I'll bring it to you next week. We'll bring our opinions on it next week. You can expect it. I'm looking forward to it.
Very good.
E3, of course, coming up. We'll talk about that. We are running super late, Brian.
All right.
But a couple of quick things with E3, of course. You've got this note: Fallout 76, Beyond Good and Evil 2, The Division 2, Rage 2, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Just some games to watch out for. They'll be doing some announcements.
Yep.
At E3 for those. So
so
those will be the ones I'll be looking for.
Yeah. Look forward to some E3 coverage coming up on next week's program. We'll have it all for you. Lots of videos, lots of comments, stuff like that. Probably do some watch parties in our Discord. So if you're going to be tuning into E3, we're not going to stream it or restream it or anything, but we'll probably do some watch parties. So if you're interested in that, hop into our Discord, and I'm sure we'll have a couple. PH mentioned he might be restreaming it, so we may be probably part of his coverage, which we'll host here on our channel. So be part of that. Chat about the game while we're watching it all unfold, and we can freak out when we see all the cool stuff that they're announcing. So that's all I got, Brian. Let's do our giveaway real quick, and
well, let's do tip of the week, and then we'll do the giveaway.
Totally forgot. The best second. How could I forget? How could I forget? What is tip of the week here, Brian?
Tip of the week is where either I give a general gaming tip or one for a specific game. Since we been talking about Conan Exiles a lot lately, this is Conan Exiles. So this is tip of the week. All right. So in Conan Exiles, emotes are something that when you're playing with friends help you maybe to enjoy the game a little bit more. And in Conan, they've got a lot of them in there. So to find these, you have to go around and look for either journals, and those things, you'll find little journals placed around the map. And some of them you'll get just initially when you create your first character. You get wave, sit, and sleep. I think are the first three. Just from creating your character. So you'll be able to use those ones right away. But from there on, you have to search for the rest. And most of them will be in the journals. They also have some that are in notes, which are very similar to journals. And then also they have ghosts around the map that you'll see that can help you to get some emotes in there. So once you find those, you'll be able to pick it up and then use that emote from there on out. And now a link from Deacon, he actually sent a link earlier in Discord, and it had a nice tutorial or a guide to get a lot of these different things. And so I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes as well, because it gives you every single location. If you're looking to go and gather all those emotes, it has the location of every single one of the journals, notes, and the different ghosts that are around the map. There's a lot of other things in there in that guide as well. So it might help you to maybe get some recipes for crafting and things like that. But it was a very extensive list that Deacon provided. And so we'll have that in the show notes. Also, it's in our Discord if you just want to scroll back a little bit. But that is it. That's my tip of the week.
Help if I mute my microphone there. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. I was just so sidetracked with tip of the week.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And I was invited to do I know the guys did a JD, Deacon, and Musty did a boss. Was it a boss? I guess they call it a boss run on Saturday night. They invited me to it, but I was playing or something, or either watching something, and I was unable to join them. But did appreciate their offer. They're all still enjoying. I talked to Musty. He was playing, and I think I was playing Overwatch Saturday afternoon, and we chatted for a while about the game and what he's liking about it, what he's not. So. Everything seems to be good on that front. They're
good.
Conan people.
I've seen them be. They're very active on it,
so. Which is good. And we have an active server, so if you're interested, join our Discord. The information is in there on how to join it, because there is a password.
Very good. All right, so let's
go ahead. Yeah.
Is there anything else before we roll for this?
No. Go ahead.
All right. So Saul Greatman,
His
longtime
only
listener,
chat
viewer.
during the show, I believe, was to enter for the giveaway. So thank you, Saul. And again,
thanks for the input. Saul. Oh, he's number 2. Rig.
Number 2. A quick note. We're planning on doing an interview with Jens Erik from Conan and Funcom a little bit later on this week in talking about the launch of Conan and all of that fun stuff. So tune in next week to the show, and we will have that interview. And unfortunately, we're not gonna obviously be able to do it live because of the time zone. But we'll have that interview. We'll ask some questions. If you have any questions you want asked, at us in Discord or send us an email. And I believe we're doing the interview Thursday or Friday. So if you want that stuff asked, tweet it to us. Get in touch with us before Thursday, and we'll be sure to ask him some of those questions. And I'm sure it'll be a good time. We've had him on the show before. We interviewed him at PAX last year. And he's a really, really cool guy. So look forward to that coming up on next week's program. Alrighty, Mr. Yes. Brian, PUBG Game of the Week. Where can we find you online?
All right. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, of course, you can go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Also, make sure you go to our website, infectionpodcast.com on the right-hand side there. Just click, if you want to get a notification before the show starts, click join the Steam group. Also, we have our Discord. We're communicating through the whole week. Sending links, people suggest news through there, and it's a great way to. And it's a free app to be able to hang out and play games with other people. We have a link to our YouTube, our Twitch, and all our different podcast forms. So if you want to get a hold of us, just click contact us on the website, and there's a contact form you can use, or you can just email us contact@infectionpodcast.com. So thank you very much.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Brian. We'll see you Friday night for some PUBG. Look forward, again, the E3 watch party. E3 is always a cool event. Always got my eyes glued to the screen for that stuff. So hop in Discord for that. I'm sure we'll have a decent group of people watching that. And as always, stick around for that stuff in Discord as there's games, conversations going on at all times of the day. We've got a pretty diverse group of people in there, so I want to thank everybody for that. Hey, maybe you're new to the show, or maybe you're watching this on YouTube. We are live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on our Twitch channel and also on YouTube live, twitch.tv/infection podcast. You can tune in for that. And I think that's going to do it. Brian, thank you very much. And we will see you next week.
Thank you.
No, Firebomb. Why would this be pre-recorded? We don't do we've done like a couple pre-recorded shows for holidays. We'll probably have to do one coming up for July 4th. But we don't do, I mean, we're a bunch of professionals here. We don't do pre-recorded. Or maybe we knew he was going to write that. Maybe this whole thing is pre-recorded. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen,
that was quite the planning.
Hey, we got all those.
I put it in the show notes.
We got all these big. We got all this Twitch Prime money here. You know, the high dollar. We got high budget now to really to do some cool stuff. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate all of that. You can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig and visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Infection Podcast. See you next time.